You know, I think I'm at a time in my life where I realize how selfish and egotistical I have been. A lot of my problems had spawned from me. There's sort of this mindset that some people can get into. It's like this mindset of being the golden child, the chosen one. Main character syndrome. You know? When Japanese people call it Chunibyo, being a Chunibyo, a anime character and whatnot. And, I think a lot of people now kind of carry that into adulthood way longer than they should. I think that should stop at teenage years. But for me, it continued on until I was about 25, 26. So 2 years ago, turning 28 in a month or two. I've felt life kind of drain in wonder and mystery. Part of it, I believe, is because I indulged in hedonism for so long that whatever reactivity in my dopamine receptors I should have is completely gone. Not completely. We can all heal from advanced degeneracy. But it does take time and it takes a shit ton of fucking effort. But with that drain and mystery, wonder, and, just essential energy, there's this anhedonia. Anhedonia is when you feel numb, flatlined. It's like nothing sparks you. And I have definitely been feeling anhedonic for some time now. Granted, I do believe I've gotten better because I've gotten into a position where I can take care of myself as an adult more effectively. I think I'm learning the ropes when it comes to adulthood, but what is that for? This is around the time when you should have a family. I don't have that other than the one that raised me. I guess I'm working on that. But, you know, doing things for myself isn't fulfilling. Doing things for myself is not fulfilling at all. Unless it's something spiritual like, meditation, learning more about how I operate, you know, what my schemas are, what my ahamkar is or will, the I am within my head. Figuring that out is fulfilling because a lot of people don't do that, and when they start to, they realize how essential it is, how simple it is. Like, it's not a complex process at all. It's hard, but it's not complex. People make it sound more complex than it is, this shadow work or whatever. When you just look inside of yourself and dig deep, the digging deep is just being honest with yourself. What what do you see in there that you don't like? that you're willing to put dirt over and constantly try to bury. But aside from that, if I were to try to make money for myself, there's no elaborate dream that I'm trying to put together. I guess me figuring out myself, I figured would lead to that dream. Or if I get to, not even if, but when I get to a point of, you know, slowly chopping away at all of the vices that I indulge in. I've cut out a good bit of it. I've cut out a great bit of it, but I still have a computer. I still watch YouTube. Yeah. I got a puck of threes. I still have some vices. I want to slowly just chop, chop, chop. Just want to slowly cut more and more out. I just want to slowly just chisel until I have the sculpture. And I figure that would lead to some form of connection with what I want to do, my dharma, the divine mission. I figure that will be what it is, but in the meantime, where I'm at now, I work just to pay bills. And the only thing that really gives me purpose is figuring out more about myself, or learning the perspectives that other people develop by going through their own struggles in life. Something about that is deeply interesting to me. Maybe there lies the nugget of meaning. Mm. Part of me says yes, actually, when I say that out loud. The the sculptures that other people have chiseled in their life. Their their pain that has been covered up with all this rubble that they slowly figured out how to get rid of, and just look at the pain, put it on display. Part of that is still uncomfortable to me. And I think more and more I want to be more comfortable with that, more vulnerable with who I am to the world. But even past that, I know I mentioned this in another video, but I think about the end of my life a lot. If it were to happen soon, who would cry? I have a loving girlfriend who would cry. My parents would cry. I'm sure my brothers would feel the void. My aunts and uncles would cry. I have people who care about me within my family. My grandmother is still alive and she would hate that. If it were to happen later in life, who would I be surrounded by? Would I be surrounded by a loving family? Or would I be by myself? And that also gives me a huge sum of meaning because, and I know it does because it feels like hedonism is robbing me of that. Like, hedonism is this bandit that takes everything precious from me. And it it leaves me barren and vacant. You know? Hedonism, instant gratification, Satan will rob your future for now. But God, delayed gratification, sacrifice will offer up your present for the future. And these are concepts I am getting very well acquainted with now. You know, when you're a hedonist, you don't think about the future. Let us eat and drink, for tomorrow we will die. You know, very ancient hedonism or hedonistic text from the Bible. I believe it was the Babylonians. And, you know, there's regret now for how I spent the past couple of years. Not even couple, but like the past few years. Covering up pain. I've had the pain of loss of relationship. I had the pain of comparison. Compared myself to friends around me who I perceived as doing better, even my own girlfriend. I I covered up a lot of insecurity. I don't think I went through anything close to what anyone out there has gone through. I believe I am lucky in life. But I also believe that that luck also made me very weak to what could be. You know, I feel vulnerable in the world now. You know, I still feel lucky, but I also want to be competent. Either way, I felt unprepared for all the pains that I felt. And hedonism was not a good answer for any of it. It wasn't. You know, it was fun. You know, I was chasing an idea of what I thought my 20s would be from when I was a kid. And I guess I manifested it. You know, like, it's not about any of that now. Whether it be for the betterment and development of myself or for or excuse me, just and for the family that I want to have in the future. I want to build something in my head, build a dream that I can just devote myself to. And I am doing that. Right now the schematics, the blueprint is still in rough draft form. You know, I haven't the schematics for the or the blueprint for the dream is it's still being drawn up. It's still being drafted up. But I'm acquiring the materials to prepare the building. I should have done this a long time ago, but you know that saying where it's like, you know, the best time was X amount of years ago, and the next best time is now. You know, I'm gonna be 28. Some people talk about how they woke up out of this daze, this haze of not thinking about the future at 30, 35, and you know, at least with that, I consider myself lucky for having this mindset now. Um, it's about others. Now, past the family, there's always been this part of me that wants to do something for a large, like a majority of people. You know, if there would be like a war that was righteous, I would probably be fighting in it. I don't think any war that's being fought right now is righteous at all. I think some dark shit is happening in the world, but you know, I think the past developing for myself, then the family, it's everybody. And the disenfranchised, people who just cannot seem to get themselves out of their own head, out of their vices, out of their past. They just keep throwing dirt on top and throwing dirt on top, and they're decaying. And maybe what I go through, even if it's small and minuscule, can resonate with somebody who's gone through something bigger than I have. Or just maybe I could just provide something for them. You know, that's far in the future. Or maybe closer than you think. I don't know. But all this to say is it's not about me. I'm doing for myself so that I could do for others. I want to be effective as a tool for others. And like, you know, I'm not saying that I want to be just this useful tool for, you know, somebody use for their own gain. I I want to be effective as a tool to help people grow and develop themselves, to help somebody get on their own 2 feet, or to help somebody accomplish their dreams even. I think that provides more for me than just doing it for some lofty dream or idea that I could ever have. For some reason, when I followed my own dream, if you could even call it that, I ended up being a hedonist, even more so, because it was all about me. And the difference being now is that it's still about me, but it's about plugging up the holes, fixing the cracks, you know, patching up the tears, and strengthening who I am. And, filling my pockets, getting some money. I need that. Um, and I have been doing that. It's like doing that more and more until my cup is full and it could pour over. I hear that a lot. It's like you have to fill your cup up before it overflows and fills others. Sometimes I do try to bypass that, but it's about making sure I'm good so that other people are good. You can't help from a deficit or else you turn evil like that. So fill myself up first before I can work with others. Because it's not about me.